All right, Shalom, brothers. This is Brother Musa here. First of all praises to Yahawah, which is the name of the Heavenly Father. Bahashim, Yahawashi. Yahawashi is the name of his son. So in the last video, we discussed Abiogenesis, which was the ridiculous notion of life coming from non-life. And basically, you know, they give you this long timeline where over the course of billions upon billions of years, the way people came about was from turning into an amoeba, and then that amoeba turned into a fish, and then the fish turned into a monkey, and then the monkey turned into a human, right? So the glue for all that to work is a concept of deep time. They had to stretch out the actual time of reality in order to fit their ridiculous amoeba turning into a fish monkey known as evolution. So in this video, this lesson, we're gonna debunk deep time, the very concept of deep time, and then we're also gonna debunk evolution. And really, we've already debunked evolution by debunking abiogenesis, right? Because we proved in last video, abiogenesis is statistically and mathematically and chemically and physically impossible, but that's fine. We'll also debunk evolution on top of that, right? So the focus of this video is deep time and evolution. We'll start with deep time, the notion that the universe is 13 point something billion years old, and then the earth is 4.6 billion years old, billion with a B. Okay, that's deep time. And after this lesson, we're going to see that that's complete nonsense and just ridiculous. All right, Lord willing, this is edifying. All right, so deep time and evolution. Let's get into it. All right, intro. Evolution and deep time, a critical analysis. All right, so the materialist concepts of evolution and deep time, spanning billions of years, have been the cornerstone of modern science. These theories claim to explain the origins and development of life and the age of the earth and universe. However, when scrutinized through a scriptural and scientific lens, significant contradictions and flaws arise. This lesson critically examines these concepts, offering insights grounded in Yahawah's truth. So, 1. Understanding evolution and deep time. What is evolution? One of the ridiculous monkey science theories. Evolution posits that all life forms share a common ancestor. So an amoeba or something like that, whatever they think it is, share a common ancestor, diversifying over millions and billions of years through processes like natural selection, which says traits beneficial for survival are passed on, mutations, so random genetic changes lead to new traits, speciation, populations diverge into new species over time. So evolution is saying that over the course of millions and over billions of years, whatever, natural selections and mutations and just moving around gives you all this diversity, right? And we're gonna find out that that's absolutely false. So in order for any of the evolution nonsense to work, you need deep time. So they just created deep time, emphasis on created, right? They just made it up. Okay, so what is deep time? Deep time suggests that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old and the universe is 13.8 billion years old. And they base this on radiometric dating methods, so the uranium-lead decay rates, and then the Big Bang model for the universe's origin, which the Big Bang model itself uses other assumptions. Okay, so they actually use deep time for the Big Bang model. Fossil records to chart evolutionary timelines. Yeah, so now that you have all this time, now you can just kind of place things where you want. You can say the dinosaurs were 65 million years ago. You could say 500 million years ago. You can do a lot when you stretch out the timeline. Okay. So there's plenty of scriptural and scientific challenges to evolution. Obviously, we know Yahawah created life, and evolution is not real. So Genesis 1, Yahawah created all life according to its kind in 6 literal days, not billions of years. And we could read that as 6 spiritual days, which I believe 1 day is 1,000 years. So that would still put us at 6,000 years, which is a far cry from billions and billions. But yeah, let's continue. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and tree yielding fruit whose seed was in itself after his kind. So Genesis 1 and 12. So evolution's common ancestry contradicts the clear division of kinds. So Genesis 1 and 12, okay, everything already is speciated, meaning it's already specific. Okay, nothing is transforming into other things. You cannot be a fish one day and then transform into a butterfly. Okay, it's ridiculous. The fishes were created by Yahawah to do fish stuff, and the butterflies were created by Yahawah to do butterfly things. They don't change no matter how much time or conditions or environments you give them. Okay, Romans 5 and 12. Sin and death entered the world through Adam, not as part of evolutionary struggle. Okay. So evolution claims millions of years of death predated humans, conflicting with the Bible's timeline. Right. So yeah, the sons of God were immortal until Adam fell, listening to Eve of the church. And subsequently to that, we all die because of sin, right? So if evolution was real, we would have already been dying for millions upon millions of years, which contradicts what Yahawah has stated. Okay. So that's just the scriptural issues that evolution has. Right now, it also has scientific challenges. All right, so scientific challenges, genetic mutations and complexity. So mutations make things worse over time. They do not cause you to become a more complex life form. Okay, so a fish having fish mutations is just going to get fish cancer. It's not going to turn into a monkey. Okay, again, a fish accumulating fish mutations is just going to get fish cancer. It's not going to turn into a monkey or anything else. Okay, and that's exactly what we see. Aren't the cancer rates and everything going up? So people are degenerating. They're not transforming. They're actually degenerating, right? Even despite all the lifestyle, all the technology and stuff, you still see cancer rates and all this stuff increasing despite all the technology. So much for, people evolving into more complex or more, higher forms. The only way you're going to be in a higher form is when Yahawashi comes back, restores the hopeful elect. All right, we're going to be transformed and we're going to be made into a higher form. And then the rest of the earth, you guys will benefit when the earth is cleaned up. All right, so Yahawashi is going to make everything fresh again. So that's how everything's going to get upgraded, not through evolution. Okay, so on top of the genetic mutations only causing fish cancer, not making a fish into a monkey, you also have fossil record problems. Okay, so fossil record inconsistencies. Sudden appearance of fully formed species during what they define as the Cambrian explosion defy evolutionary gradualism. So even in their own framework, even when they have something called the Cambrian explosion where they use deep time, they still contradict their own science, because all of a sudden all these species just are fully formed. And then there's and this is the other major issue, the lack of transitional forms between major groups, right? Yeah, because if a fish is going to turn into a monkey, we need to be able to see that transition, right, from fishhood to monkeyness, right? And we can't find it because it doesn't exist. All right, so irreducible complexity. Systems like the bacterial flagellum or human eye cannot function with half-evolved components. Evolution offers no mechanism to explain their stepwise development. Yeah, so the human eye is extremely complicated. It didn't just evolve over time to what it is now. It's formed the way Yahawah formed it, because his design is just absolutely perfect. Yahawah is the ultimate designer, literally a creator, right? So radiometric dating errors, another thing they use, assumes constant decay rates and initial conditions, often leading to contradictory rates. This is funny. So freshly formed rocks dated millions of years old. This is hilarious. So they have rocks that are literally just formed in the 1980s, and then they will measure this rock that everyone could see is this brand new rock, and this rock will measure as millions upon millions of years old. So a rock that was just formed from 1980 using radiometric dating will date millions and millions of years old. So you do the math on that. Okay, so 1980, millions of years. Okay, it's crazy how inaccurate their science is. And then we also have scriptural and scientific challenges to deep time. So Genesis timeline, the Bible places the Earth's age at roughly 6,000 years based on genealogies and creation, right? So if we track from Adam to Yahawashi to today is 6,000 years, just about. Okay, so that's a big difference from 4.6 billion. So we have to bridge the gap. Somebody is messing up somewhere, and it's not Yahawah. So the only people who messed up is these monkey sciences. Okay. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, Exodus 20 and 11, and then Isaiah 40 and 22. The heavens were created as part of a finished system, not over billions of years through random processes. Okay, so yeah, they can't justify deep time scripturally, and then on top of that, they can't justify deep time scientifically. So one of the major issues to deep time is the magnetic field decay. Earth's magnetic field is weakening, and it's weakening at a rate that suggests a maximum age of 10,000 years. If Earth were billions of years old, the field would have collapsed a long time ago, and the Earth would have disintegrated. Okay. Helium diffusion in zircons. Helium trapped in zircon crystals supports a young Earth, 6,000 years rather than deep time. Soft tissue in fossils. Yeah, so even dinosaur bones that they're finding that they supposedly are millions of years old, these have collagen in them. Some of them have blood still in them. These things would not survive millions upon millions of years. Okay, and the flood happened 4,400 years ago, so that makes sense why they still have collagen and all that, because it wasn't millions of years ago. Carbon-14 in fossils and diamonds. Detectable carbon-14 in fossils and diamonds suggest an age of thousands, not millions of years. So again, we keep on debunking millions of years and billions of years, and we keep on going back to thousands of years, which aligns with Yahawah's timeline. So why evolution and deep time persist? Philosophical bias, right? These people are attached to it. Materialist science is built on a foundation of naturalism, which rejects Yahawah's involvement in creation. Evolution and deep time offer an alternative creation story, displacing accountability to a creator. Yeah, they cannot stand the thought of Yahawah holding them accountable. Confirmation bias. Evidence supporting a young Earth or intelligent design is often dismissed or reinterpreted to fit evolutionary narratives. Social and cultural pressure. Evolution is taught as fact in schools, reinforcing its dominance in public thought despite its scientific shortcomings. So basically propaganda. They're just repeated enough times, and now everyone thinks they come from a monkey. Doesn't mean it's right. You just repeated it a bunch of times. So the truth of Yahawah's design complexity. Life systems display purpose and order, reflecting a creator's handiwork. DNA, the language of life, is a literal code that points to intelligence. Rapid changes within kinds. While microevolution, variation within kinds, is observable, macroevolution, one kind turning into another, has no scientific or scriptural support. And then the young Earth evidence. Observations of rapid geological changes. Example, Mount St. Helens. That was the 1980s rock that was just formed that ended up being millions of years old. Magnetic decay, which says that the Earth's magnetic field can be no more than 10,000 years old. And then helium diffusion. All this aligns with the 6,000 year timeline. Okay. Summary. Key takeaways. Evolution and deep time are rooted in assumptions that conflict with both scripture and observable evidence. Yahawah's creation is purposeful, ordered, and recent, with clear evidence supporting a young Earth. Materialism's reliance on evolution and deep time reveals its philosophical weakness and disconnection from truth. Scriptural reinforcement. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. Creation was complete, harmonious, and intentional, not random or chaotic. Okay. Yeah. So, reflection and discussion. How does evidence for a young Earth challenge the dominance of evolution and deep time in modern science? Well, modern science has been debunked and canceled. Okay. And Yahawah's truth is turning to be the new science. Why is it important to discern truth from materialist assumptions when interpreting evidence? Yeah, everything needs to be interpreted in terms of Yahawah's framework, not what these guys want. How can this lesson help align our understanding of creation with Yahawah's purpose? Well, when we debunk deep time and evolution and abiogenesis, which we already did, then this gives further credence to Yahawah's control over creation, which, as if we needed it, but it does. So with that concludes part one, and this is already at 14 minutes. You could see that this is deep lesson. Okay, so we have literally 19 lessons about deep time and evolution, and this was just the intro. So for now, I'm gonna pause it here, and then maybe we'll get into lesson one. All right, to finish this lesson out and not to spend hours upon hours on deep time, I'm gonna skip forward to lesson 5 on helium diffusion and zircons. This is some of the more strongest evidence against deep time. Really, all the evidence is strong and it compounds, but this is straight to the point. So yeah, we'll touch on helium zircon and then close this out. All right, so helium diffusion in zircons, a major challenge to deep time. Lesson 5. So helium diffusion provides one of the most powerful scientific evidences against deep time. This data directly challenges the assumptions underlying radiometric dating and the billions of years timeline proposed by materialist science, aka monkey science. Okay, what are zircons and why are they important? Definition. Zircons are tiny crystalline minerals found in igneous rocks. They often contain uranium, which decays into lead, emitting alpha particles. These particles embed into the crystal lattice as helium atoms. So basically, helium, a gas that's in balloons, gets trapped in these crystals, okay? And then the releasing of this helium, this trapped helium in these crystals, is what they're measuring. And when they measured the releasing of this helium in these crystals, the measurement ends up being 6,000 years, just in alignment with Yahawah's truth. Okay, Yahawah's timeline. All right, so let's continue. Relevance to deep time. According to radiometric dating, zircons are supposedly billions of years old. Yeah, so the zircon crystal, meaning the mineral that we said that the helium is trapped in. So the crystals are supposedly billions of years old, but then when you measure the helium, which is the gas is only 6,000 years old. So something's not balancing here. Okay, how can you have the gas in there when it's only when it's billions of years old, right? The gas would have long escaped. Helium is a very light gas and it escapes quickly. It has a short half-life. So if these crystals were really billions of years old as they had dated them, then any helium in them would have been long gone. Okay. So yeah, this presents a problem for these guys. Okay, what's going on? It's not billions of years old. How can you explain this? All right, so however, the helium trapped inside zircon crystals tells a very different story. The problem with helium diffusion. Helium escape. What is diffusion? Helium is a small inert gas that escapes quickly from solid materials. The rate of helium diffusion depends on temperature and the properties of the host material. So, conflict with radiometric dating. If zircons were billions of years old, nearly all the helium produced by uranium decay should have diffused out long ago. Yet, significant amounts of helium are still present, indicating a much younger age. So not only should all of the helium had already been gone, there's even a high amount of there still in there. There's still a high amount of helium in these crystals. Quantitative evidence against deep time. Key measurements. Helium retention. Helium retention rates in zircons are far too high for their supposed radiometric ages of billions of years old. For example, zircons from the Jemez Mountains in New Mexico retain up to 58% of their helium, which should have diffused out if they were billions of years old. Yeah, because they are not billions of years old. Diffusion rates. Laboratory experiments measured helium diffusion rates in zircon crystals at various temperatures. Calculated diffusion ages are approximately 6,000 years old. 6,000 years, aligning with a young Earth model or Yahawah's creation. Contradictory timescales. Dating method, uranium-lead radiometric. So the proposed age with radiometric dating was 1.5 billion, and then when you measure the helium, it measures to 6,000. And it's funny, it's 6,000 and not like, 20,000 or whatever. 6,000 lines up exactly with the Lord's timeline. Okay, empirical data. Diffusion rates of helium in zircon at 100 degrees Celsius, 2.5 times 10 to the 17th power centimeters squared, okay? Helium retention percentages align with diffusion ages much closer to 6,000 years than billions. Okay. Why helium diffusion refutes deep time? Helium leakage. At normal crustal temperatures, helium should escape zircon crystals within tens of thousands of years. Retained helium disproves the assumption that uranium-lead decay occurred over billions of years. Inconsistent assumption. Radiometric dating assumes constant decay rates. Yeah, because the decay rates could even change. Initial conditions, amount of daughter isotopes at formation. Helium diffusion exposes these assumptions as flawed. Helium retention provides an independent clock unaffected by parent-daughter isotopic ratios. This clock directly contradicts radiometric ages. Implications for deep time. A young Earth timeline. Helium diffusion aligns with a biblical creation timeline, 6,000 years, and the catastrophic events like the Genesis flood. Right, the flood was 4,400 years ago. Challenges to radiometric dating. Radiometric ages are not direct measurements of time, but interpretations based on assumptions. Helium diffusion provides measurable, testable evidence that invalidates long age assumptions. So basically, they're wrong. Okay, they're completely wrong and they're way off the mark. Consistency with other evidence. So helium retention joins other evidence, other lines of evidence such as magnetic field decay, the soft tissue in fossils. All this compounds and demonstrates Earth's young age. So yeah, we even anticipate their rebuttals. So counter arguments that they'll come up with, and then we already got a response for them. Diffusion rates are not consistent. Laboratory experiments confirm consistent diffusion rates under controlled conditions, aligning with real-world observations. Claim 2, helium retention may be an anomaly. Multiple studies across different zircon samples confirm similar retention levels and diffusion rates. Claim 3, helium could be reintroduced. Helium atoms cannot migrate backwards into zircons due to their small size and inert nature. So basically, helium's not going to get put back into these crystals once it escapes. Okay. Scriptural consistency. Helium diffusion supports a young Earth. Exodus 20:11. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is. I don't think that is right, but anyways, Exodus 20:11. Helium diffusion demonstrates that Earth's true age is consistent with Yahawah's word. Genesis flood and geological effects. The catastrophic conditions of the Genesis flood provide a framework for understanding rapid decay processes and their effect on zircon retention. Key findings. Helium retention in zircons limits their age thousands, not billions of years. Measured diffusion rates confirm an age of approximately 6,000 years, consistent with the biblical timeline. Radiometric dating methods fail to account for the observed helium levels, exposing deep time as untenable, meaning you're wrong and it's impossible. Deep time is deeply wrong and deeply incorrect. Why this matters. Helium diffusion directly undermines the deep time framework required for evolution. It provides a quantifiable scientific basis for the young Earth model. Yeah, so this is good. Helium zircon is good in two ways. One, it makes their deep time impossible, and two, it puts the dating at exactly 6,000 years, which is consistent with Yahawah. Okay, Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi is the truth. Monkey science is obviously lying. Okay, so yeah, that was skipping to lesson 5 on deep time. And you know, once you already made deep time fall apart, evolution can't even work. But you guys could see just how much data that we have here on just deep time and evolution. And this video is already long, right? So I'm not going to go through all these, but you can see that there's a lot more evidence against these guys than there is for them. And we can, no matter what they throw, Yahawah's truth stands. So any rebuttals that they can't come up with, I would just instantly throw it into the ANIMA framework and we would put it in the proper context. So there's no gaps, there's no gotcha, there's nothing they can come up with to invalidate Yahawashi. It's impossible. The Lord's reality stands, and this makes a lot more sense, right? So yeah, Lord willing, this has been a edifying lesson to you brothers out there. I appreciate you guys listening, and taking the time out of your busy days and getting into these topics. And what we're doing is we're building a case for Yahawashi scientifically, and at the same time we are doing an inquisition and debunking them systematically, all their thought processes, all their sciences, everything they believe in. Emphasis on belief, because these are just beliefs at this point. It's not science anymore. We've already debunked and ruined their science, right? So all their sciences, all their major theories are going to be, systematically looked at and then torn down. And then Yahawashi theories are not even his theories, just his facts. The Lord's facts are what's going to end up, reigning supreme in the end. So, anyways, brothers. So that's it for deep time and evolution. We'll maybe revisit this, but at this point, Abiogenesis is done, deep time is done, and evolution is done, right? So we got other stuff to look forward to and continue to glorify Yahawashi. Okay, so that concludes the lesson. Shalom, brothers.